Hey, pastors and missionaries, this is Carl Walker with Engedi Retreat. Coming to you today with a word about brokenness and trauma, something I've been experiencing recently, and I think the Lord has wanted me to share some things with you about this. I'm up here in Colorado right now in the woods, and I am searching for a beaver dam. I've been told there was a beaver dam up here. And as I've been searching for this beaver dam, I came across something that was really, really poignant for, I think, what the Lord is teaching. And that is this. I am walking through a part of the forest that suffered a severe forest fire. And everything, as you can tell, is burnt down and is starting to regrow. Not much, but starting to regrow. And there's some really good lessons here that I think I've been learning, that I think the Lord's been teaching me, that I want to share with you today. And the first one is this, like, when you experience trauma, when you experience brokenness in the ministry, this is kind of what it looks like. It's like you're torn asunder and everything is laid bare. There's nowhere to hide. You feel totally exposed. You feel totally vulnerable. You look around and there's like no food to eat. There's nothing growing. And you're like, man, this stinks. But in this, there's something to be learned. There's something to be appreciated. And I've been appreciating that very, very succinctly in the last month because I am actually broken myself. I had a major wrist and ulna surgery. So one of the things I think it's important for us to take into consideration when we go through trauma or when we go through brokenness or we go through strife is that there's a certain level of anticipation and commitment that is about to happen, that is going to happen, that maybe hasn't happened before. I was talking with a pastor a couple weeks ago, and he's going through an incredibly, incredibly difficult time. And one of the things he said to me was, you know, Carl, one of the things I've learned in this is that I'm drawing very, very close to Christ. And one of the things that he's telling me is that I only die to him to the level that is required of me to die to him. And I thought, yeah, that's true. That's true. We don't wake up in the morning and go, yes, I'm going to die to Christ more. Now let me go have my latte and let me go, have a wonderful day at the beach. Like, it generally doesn't happen that way. We die to Christ when we are injured. The other thing I want to share with you is that while we're experiencing that depth, and I encourage you to go into that depth, is that healing is an amazing process that needs a different pace and a different mentality. So after I had this surgery, which was a big surgery on my wrist and ulna, they actually had to cut my ulna in half. I couldn't stay awake for like 2 weeks. I couldn't stay awake for more than like 4 or 5 hours. And I just totally knock out, sit down, fall asleep. Well, that's my body repairing itself. Like, in trauma, when recovering from trauma, we need to rest more. That's what we need to do. We need to rest more. The other thing I found out is that if you want your bones and ligaments and everything that's torn up in there to heal, is that you have to eat a lot more, like 30 to 40% more, which is kind of cool because you get to eat whatever you want, and a lot of it. But you're constantly eating and you're constantly resting. Well, while you're doing that, guess what's not happening? Well, you're not growing. You're not reaching for the skies up here. All you're trying to do is like find good soil. You're trying to find the nutrients that will bring you back to life. And that means like you have to have a departure from your regular work schedule. I'm not flying right now. I can't fly with this hand all banged up like this, right? So it requires me to step back from my daily activities and focus on healing. And healing for the sake of healing, not for the sake of like, ooh, if God has me plant a tree right here after I'm done being broken, I can grow even taller than I was, and I can have a bigger church, and I can reach more. No. I mean, maybe he'll do that for you, or maybe he won't. Maybe you're being broken for simply a deeper relationship with God. That's it. Maybe, and can't that be enough? Can't we be broken and come back to a place with God just so that we can be closer to him? Not for anything we're trying to achieve or do, but we can just trust in him more? Like, that sounds cool. The other thing that is important to recognize is that sometimes when you're broken, you need help from other people. Yes, I could have, after I broke my wrist and found out my ulna was too long, I could have prayed to God and said, God, please heal my broken wrist and my torn ligaments and shorten my ulna. I could have, and he could have done that. But I needed help. I needed professional help. I needed to go to a doctor who's been like, hey, I know what to do in this particular situation. I have a very tiny bone in my wrist that's like mega important that was broken just in the wrong spot. And the ligament next to it was torn just in the wrong way. And I needed a very, very high detailed specialist wrist surgeon to take care of that. And sometimes you need that in your healing. Sometimes you have a very specific problem that needs outside help, that you need to go and ask for outside help and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm broken. You fix it and tell me what to do and I'll do it. So I want to encourage you, pastors, if you're going through a place of brokenness right now, a place of trauma where it doesn't seem like there's much hope, lean into Christ. Lean into that healing. Eat of his body, of his word, of his spirit. Seek help and rest, knowing that maybe the only thing you need to do through this is just heal and be closer to God. I love you, brothers and sisters. Stay well, stay rested. Remember, rest is not something you do apart from ministry. Rest is something you do as a part of ministry. I love you.